Oh, this one's exciting for me. I've had my eye on this for a long time and ROG has finally sent over one for a feature. This is the ROG Raikiri Pro, their high-end wireless gamepad. Let's get it unboxed and tested. But before we continue with the video, ASUS would like you to know that their Cool for School promo is now up and running. If you're in the Philippines, make sure you get geared up and ready for the coming school year with great deals and bundles worth up to 40,000 pesos. Score amazing deals on laptops that'll make sure you get all you need done and more. From their entry-level friendly Chromebook and VivoBook series to the OLED-powered ZenBook series all the way up to the powerhouses from ROG like the Zephyrus G15 and Duo 16, everything is on offer. And for the first time, the ROG Ally and the ROG Phone 8 are now part of the bundles that you can avail. The promo runs from June 1 to August 15, 2024. Make the most out of the ASUS Cool for School promo by visiting the link in the description. That's it, let's get back to the video. Apologies because the box of this unit is a bit roughed up, but it's a media review unit, so this box has passed through a lot of other hands before mine, and as we can see, some hands are gentler than others. Anyways, this is the Raikiri Pro, ROG's all-new high-end wireless tri-mode gaming controller for Xbox and PC. As we can see here in the front, it looks unmistakably ROG. It's got that visual motif that'll look at home with any ROG gaming setup. At the back, we can see its headline features, mainly its intuitive rear controls, selectable step triggers, built-in OLED display, and extensive customizability. Alright, we'll definitely test some of these out here and all of them in the full review. Upon opening up the box, we can see another box. And upon opening up that other box, we can see another box again. Just kidding, it's the Raikiri Pro, held in place by a paper mold to protect it from bumps during shipping. Let's take it out for now and check the accessories. Underneath all that, we find the manual, which we will instinctively ignore, and a very long braided USB-A to USB-C cable. And that's it. Kind of slim on the accessories, but that's fine. Alright, heading on over to the gamepad itself, first thing I'd like to notice is the weight. It's surprisingly lighter compared to my daily driver gamepad. 258 grams to the 273 grams of the Fantech WGP15 EOS Pro. Taking a tour of the Raikiri Pro, we can see that it is of the standard Xbox shape and control layout, save for some improved ergonomics and textures for grip. Here at the front, we can see its OLED screen at the top, followed downward by the Xbox button and the trio of the view, share, and menu buttons from left to right. We also have the asymmetrical layout for the joysticks here. Quick check here, the sticks look to be 8mm tall. Do note that these are not Hall effect joysticks and they do not feature replaceable hats. The top of the sticks are concave and are ribbed vertically at the sides for grip. Right in between them is the 8-way dish directional pad. It feels very smooth and features a crisp, satisfying click on each press. It's pretty great, but it does not feature a replaceable cover, so there's no way to change this out to a cross pad or a 4-way button pad. At the right side, we have the standard layout for ABXY. They are opaque and do not feature any lighting. Moving on over to the top side, we're greeted with 6 buttons, 4 being on the left and right shoulder and trigger buttons, and 2 extra buttons at the middle to control the OLED screen. They flag the single USB-C data and charging port. At the back, we can see the sliders for the step triggers. These allow you to change the depth of the left and right trigger buttons. When it's pulled to the inside like this, the trigger will have full throw or depth, and when it's pulled outwards, the trigger will have a shallower travel. It's pretty useful for racing and FPS games. Downwards, those are the M1 to M4 programmable macro buttons. You can assign button functions to these or record a string of inputs and bind them. At the middle, we see a magnetic flap that, when removed, reveals the storage for the 2.4 GHz wireless receiver. Remember, this gamepad can connect to your PC either through wire, Bluetooth wireless, or via the 2.4 GHz dongle. If you are using Xbox though, you're stuck with a wired connection. Moving on over to the chin part of the Raikiri Pro, we can see that there's a 3.5mm aux jack here. You can plug in your headset to this and receive high-quality audio because of its built-in ESS DAC. That's something pretty unexpected of a controller. Lastly, at the right side of the chin is the microphone mute and pairing combo button. Single press this to mute your mic, long press this to pair via Bluetooth. It's pretty straightforward. Alright, that's everything for the tour around the Raikiri Pro. Let's get it plugged in and let's see its software, so we can set it up to game. Now that we've got the Raikiri Pro plugged in, we can see the RGB and the OLED screen light up. It looks pretty baller. Quick note here before we head into the software, you can control the OLED screen via these two buttons at the top. To bring up the Raikiri Pro settings, you will have to long press the right button. In this menu, a short press on the right button will scroll down, a long press will select whatever's highlighted, and a short press on the left button will take you back to the previous option. Since we're connecting to the PC via a wired connection, we can go forward to System, PC, and select USB. Alright, let's head on over to Armory Crate. Now that we're here in Armory Crate, we can see all the info and settings that we can change with the Raikiri Pro. Starting with the Device Info tab, this is where we can see all the current control setups of the left and right triggers, joysticks, vibration motors, and the key assignments on the back. Pressing any of these menus will forward us to the settings page for that corresponding input. It's great to see a very detailed and very exact control for inputs in the software. This is something a lot of Pro controllers lack. Moving on over to the Settings tab, this is where we can adjust the calibration of both the triggers and joysticks, as well as adjust the key assignments to the macro buttons and to tweak the strength of the vibration motors. For the triggers, we can specify the start and end of throw, and this is controlling basically the distance and the depth of press where the input will trigger. Shorter distances are good for hair trigger performance in FPS games, where you need to get that shot off quicker than your opponent, and longer distances are great for fine-tuning your gas pedal in racing games. Next up, we have the sticks, where we can adjust the dead zone and outer threshold for the travel of the sticks. This can prove to be very beneficial in the long run. Remember, the Raikiri Pro isn't running Hall effect joysticks, so it is susceptible to joystick drift over time. Being able to control the dead zone and outer threshold can mitigate some of the detrimental effects of drift later on in its lifespan. There is also an option to change the response curve of the sticks, with it being set to a linear response, but also having the option for logarithmic, exponential, or even customized curves. This is the first time I've seen this in a gamepad software, and I feel like it will prove invaluable in my game of choice, racing games. I can set the steering response to be a bit more gentle, as jerky and twitchy steering leads to sloppier racing lines. Great job with this, ROG. Heading on over to key assignment, this is where we can assign inputs or macros to the 4 M buttons at the back. This is pretty standard among gaming controllers, so I won't go into much detail into these. Last on the settings is vibration, where we can control the vibration strength on the 4 motors in the Raikiri Pro. I like feeling the road when I'm playing racing games, so I generally set these to max. Next main tab we have is lighting. This just controls the RGB for the Raikiri Pro. Every ROG product that has RGB has this control, and it's pretty standard and intuitive, so I won't detail this too much. In the power tab, this is where we'll see our battery percentage, control when the low battery notification alerts, and how long before the Raikiri Pro goes into sleep mode when idle. Next tab is firmware update, for if you want to update your Raikiri Pro to the latest software version. And lastly, we have the OLED control tab. It mainly controls the display on the Raikiri Pro, and we get a slew of pre-made animations for it. There's also an option to upload a custom image or animation if you are so inclined. Do remember that your image or animation has to have an English file name, be in JPEG or GIF in 128 by 32 resolution, a maximum of 40 KB in size, with a maximum frame count of 60 and in grayscale. It's pretty limiting, but then again, this is just a small OLED screen that you're probably not going to be staring at for an extended period of time. Alright, that's everything inside and outside the ROG Raikiri Pro. Time for the fun part, testing it out. Let's get to playing some games. So for this testing run, I've shifted to using the Raikiri Pro wirelessly with its 2.4 GHz dongle. And I've put on our usual 3 games: Forza Horizon 5 for racing, Tekken 7 for fighting, and Spyro Remastered for platforming. Starting with Spyro Remastered, I can immediately feel how responsive the Raikiri Pro is. My current control configuration is left stick remove, right stick for camera control, and the standard ABXY control layout. ABXY feel and response is okay for me, nothing out of the ordinary. Next, we've got Tekken 7 as a test for our D-pad performance. This is where I feel like I made the most out of the Raikiri Pro for this short test. It was very responsive, and I particularly love the extra clicky 8-way D-pad. This is my preferred format for D-pad, the dish-style top with extra clicky switches. Input feels super fast, and I find that the top finish of the dish is exceptional. Your mileage may vary though, as this is kind of like a textured PBT finish that can start to feel gunky very fast, especially if you eat with your hands while playing. But yeah, the D-pad was very good, and ABXY was okay. Lastly, we have the Forza Horizon 5 test. I drive with very little assist in this game, and my control layout is left stick for steering and right stick for acceleration and braking. Yes, I do know that having it in this configuration doesn't allow me to engage the brakes while accelerating, but this is what I'm accustomed and comfortable to. So yeah, deal with it. But yeah, this is where I got a gauge of how the sticks feel, and they're super smooth. They are noticeably more tighter and returns to neutral position faster than my daily driver Fantech EOS WGP15 Pro. But it's not too big of an adjustment that it affected my driving experience. One thing I have to say though, I miss having long sticks. The sticks on the Raikiri Pro are nice, but they are very concave and have a short to medium height. I've always preferred tall sticks so I can have that fine steering control, but this is alright for now. So that's the ROG Raikiri Pro wireless gamepad. Do you have any questions about it? Leave them down in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. Give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends. It really helps out a lot. That's it. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.